After completing the Isle of Armor portion of the Pokemon DLC, we can now look forward with great anticipation to the Crown Tundra. Now, the Isle of Armor was great, and it was mostly focused on new items and moves, but the Crown Tundra seems like it'll be much more focused on some of the story, as well as new Pokemon. But I will be honest, ever since we got the most recent trailer and information for the Crown Tundra, something feels weird. And not weird in the sense of real-life business or game development, but weird in the actual lore and story of the Crown Tundra. I've mentioned that the main story of Pokemon Sword and Shield was a bit light on the legendaries, but Crown Tundra is promising us a brand new mythical Pokemon, regional variants of legendary Pokemon, and new legendaries with connected lore to existing legendaries. So what the actual heck is this place? Well, for one thing, throughout trailers, we've seen this interesting looking tree. I've thrown around the idea that this tree is giant because of max energy that surges in the Galar region. As I've also discussed, Eternatus is the originator of max energy and has potentially been buried underground for thousands of years, allowing its energy to radiate throughout the region, and probably causing this tree to grow as big as it is, as well as the Dynamax phenomenon. But I was thinking recently, and forgive me if I'm wrong or if anyone has discussed this, but has there been any real clarification about what the raid dens are? Like, has there been a time it's been explicitly stated that these are underground? Because, well, they are. During a raid battle, you can see that the battlefield is dark like a cave, and in promotional art, we can see some of the rocks and very clearly stalactites. The max energy in these dens is so great that the light escapes through the small holes, creating a pillar of intense light that we see above ground. There are times when you're unable to capture a Pokemon and it disappears somewhere into the den, meaning that these large underground caves go even deeper, deep enough to where a giant Pokemon can escape. And with there being a large amount of dens relatively close to each other, there are several giant caves right below the surface. It is possible that they're all connected, but even if they aren't, this is still crazy for so much to be just below the ground in the Galar region. We see that this even extends to the Isle of Armor and the Crown Tundra, which also have these raid dens. And while we've had the underground before in Diamond and Pearl, it was nothing compared to a network of giant caves where the energy is so intense it causes Pokemon to grow to giant size. To a degree, it reminds me a little of Hollow Earth, which is a concept that there's an entire other world inside of the Earth, with its own ecosystem that's very similar to ones above ground. But from what we can see of the dens, there isn't much happening, it's all just a bunch of rocks, so they're literally all just caves. Unless they go deeper and can connect to some central point where the Pokemon live and thrive. Although we do see that we'll be able to explore this network of caves in the Crown Tundra expansion, we'll be able to go even deeper. Though I do feel like we've maybe seen this before. A giant tree with a network of caves below it leading to a utopian natural environment filled with Pokemon? Ah yes, the Tree of Beginning from Lucario and the Mystery of Mew. Now I'm not saying for sure there's a connection between these two, but the similarities in concept are pretty hard to ignore. Of course, probably just getting some actual inspiration from the real-life mythology of Yggdrasil, which has been discussed in different Pokemon theories before, mainly back in Generation 6, but it's very possible that that same mythology is influencing the Crown Tundra as well. Although there's not much more I could discuss about that topic, because the Crown Tundra hasn't officially been released yet, we can't explore it. But we can theorize some other things, and it's actually the craziest thing that I want to discuss. Yes, the craziest thing about this cave network is that if you go deep enough, you'll find legendary Pokemon. Now, with the large amount of legendary Pokemon, recent games have given us a way to obtain them in the post-game. And a lot of these games have included a reason within the lore why we're able to obtain them. While in the lore of these games, there are only one of many of these Pokemon, and they tend to live in different regions. In Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire was a bunch of mirage spots which were portals to somewhere else, resembling the portals that Hoopa creates, which we even see in the movie. Hoopa is able to summon legendary Pokemon through these rings. And so it was just a tie-in into Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire post-game where we were able to catch these Pokemon. And in Ultra Sun and Moon, it was different universes and environments accessed through the Ultra Warp Ride, which allowed us to travel to many different places to obtain several Ultra Beasts and, again, these different Pokemon. All weird in concept, but acceptable ways to include legendary Pokemon. And now we come to the Crown Tundra, where the legendary Pokemon are found hidden in the deep cave networks of the Galar region. So how exactly do they get there? The best that I can come up with is that it's definitely got something to do with max energy itself. For one thing, we know that it can cause Pokemon to grow in size, but we've also seen that in the battle with Eternamax Eternatus, in large quantities, for example, the giant Lovecraftian being from which it originates, Max energy seems to cause spatial distortion. During the battle, we see flashes of various locations throughout the Galar region appearing in the storm surrounding Eternatus. And we know that Eternatus came to Earth in a meteor that probably was lodged into the Earth, similar to another extraterrestrial Pokemon, and it likely radiated its energy into the very ground of the region. So what if there is a central point where all these cave systems do connect? And what if there's one final den hidden deep underground the Galar region where the max energy is the strongest? Almost like a core of max energy. What if the energy is so strong it continues to cause spatial distortion, opening up portals to various points in the world, points in the multiverses, sucking up legendary Pokemon and bringing them into the cave system of the Crown Tundra, infusing them with this max energy that causes them to Dynamax? What if it was all Eternatus the whole time? And this is some wishful thinking, but currently Eternamax Eternatus is not available in the game. Now, I like this for the purpose of the story, but I can't help but think that maybe we'll be able to obtain something beyond regular Eternatus. And whatever is in the deepest parts of these caves might be just that. Or perhaps there's some spot that would react with our own Eternatus. It is one of the only legendary Pokemon that, in canon, has to be caught by the player character, rather than just defeated in battle. But then again, maybe it's best Eternamax Eternatus stay exclusive to the story, especially with those stats. 2 Darkest Days are more than enough. But anyway, let me know what you think. What is going on with all these legendary Pokemon in the Crown Tundra? What's going on with Eternatus? Because I didn't even think about it until recently, or realize until recently, that Eternatus could potentially connect to all of this. It's pretty weird, but let me know what you think in the comments below. As you can see though, I got my pop filter for my mic, and actually, I even was given as a gift a nice 6-foot tall tripod, so everyone leave a thank you for my dad who gave it to me as a gift. But anyway, let me know what you think in the comments below. If you enjoyed the content, remember to leave a like and subscribe to show your support. You can enable notifications by clicking that bell icon next to the subscribe button. This will make sure you see each new video as it comes out and will make you a member of the Chingling Squad. Anyway, this has been GatorEX. Have a nice day.